Hello you guys, it's Grace and Wally, and we're here to show you my daily routine with giving Wally attention and keeping all of his stuff clean and keeping him healthy and well fed and everything of the sort. So without further ado, our daily routine. First things first, in the morning when I wake up, I uncover his cage because at night I like him to be all covered and cozy and sleepy, so he's comfortable and sleeps well. But then in the morning, I make sure he gets plenty of sunlight and has a nice open cage. I usually have to go to school on most days, but if I don't, then I'll take him out and hang out with him for a few hours in the morning. Good boy. He likes this little perch right outside his cage, and he can play with his little basketball and hoop. Otherwise, I have him sit on my shoulder and just walk around the house with him and just hang out with him throughout the day. And sometimes I'll let him sit on a chair or on a little perch by where I'm doing work, and he can just sit and spend some time with me while I'm trying to get some work done. Something else that's very important to do on a daily basis is make sure your bird has enough food and water, and that the water is clean and everything is as it should be. Birds chew the seed out of the little husk on these, so you have to look at this and it looks like there's food left, but there's not really. These are mostly just the outer shells of the food. So this is where you want to dump it out and refill it, because Wally doesn't eat these little colorful pellets, and then these ones, most of them are gone. So I'm just going to refill his food dish and just replace it so he can have fresh, good new food and he doesn't run out. I feed Wally a combination of this 40 diet Cockatiel feed, which has a good combination of seeds in it that he likes to eat, and I also do about half of this Supreme natural bird food, and these are the pellet form and those are the seed form, and I'm working on getting him transferred over to all pellet form because it's better for their heart and just better for the bird in general, but right now it's about a half and half diet. So I put a little bit of seed in the bottom of the container, and then I put a handful of the pellets on top of that, and I just stir it around with my finger so he can get a little bit of both, even though he usually eats all the seeds first. So as you can see, there's more pellets in there than seeds, but there's still a little bit of the seeds because he likes those for a little treat. I also have this little holder of millet spray in his cage that he can play around with and try to get this millet out of there and eat as a treat as well. And I only leave this in there some of the time because I don't want him to have too many fatty seeds. Another important thing to do is replace the water dish every so often. As you can see, this water dish has some little bits of food in it. You always want to clean these out so your bird doesn't get sick, because the water can grow some pretty nasty stuff in it if it's not cleaned out. So you want to dump it out, and then you want to rinse it out and just clean it out very thoroughly and make sure it's dry and clean before you refill it again. And with all of Wally's toys and dishes, I clean them thoroughly with soap and water once a week. For today though, just refilling it with fresh, clean water is enough. Also, I clean out the newspaper on the bottom of the cage about every other day. The next thing I'm going to show you is how I clean out the bottom of Wally's bird cage. First, you want to undo any latches that are on the bottom and take off this big portion on top of the cage so you can just get to the bottom. So what you do is you take the corners of the newspaper and you just fold them into the center. This way you don't have to touch any of the inside stuff, and you just fold it up into one nice bundle. Then you just want to put it in the garbage, and I usually take out the garbage can right when I finish this because I have a very curious cat. As you can see, there's quite a bit of residue in the sides of the container, so what you want to do is just get it into one side and then dump that right into the garbage as well. So as you can see, it's nice and clean now and just has a couple little fuzzy pieces of feather in there, and that's okay. I do clean this out when I clean the food dishes and water dishes as well once a week. But for now, I just leave it as is and just put some fresh newspaper in. I have just some newspaper from past days of the week, and if you don't get the newspaper, you can usually use other paper you have around the house or go pick up a free newspaper someplace. Sometimes they have just some little free papers that you can take. I just take a full sheet of paper just like this. I set it in the bottom and just press down and then fold all the corners into the middle. Then to keep the corners laying down like that, and also to give it another layer, I just take one of these half sheets and I fold it in half and just set that right on top in the middle. It doesn't look very pretty, but that's okay. It's gonna get some bird poo on it and food, and it's not really important for it to look pretty as long as it keeps the bottom of the cage clean. Some people also pre-cut their papers in the exact shape of the bottom of their cage, and you can do that as well. The next thing you're going to want to do is put the top of your cage back onto the bottom. So as you can see, the top of the cage is back on the bottom, and you just want to make sure that these little clips are in place so when you pick the cage up, the bottom will stay attached to the top. So as you can see, the cage is right back up there on top of my little dresser, and it's clean. Wally has fresh water and plenty of food, which you can see he's happily enjoying right now. I like to take Wally out and talk to him and play with him, see if he plays with his little toys that I have for him, and give him some treats. I try to stimulate his mind so he doesn't get bored sitting in the cage all day. You want to make sure you give them plenty of attention and love. Some birds really like to be pet. Wally's not really a big cuddly guy because he didn't live with people for the first part of his life, so he tends to just like to chill by himself, but he does love to sit on my shoulders and fingers sometimes as well. Something that you probably want to do every once in a while is spray your bird. I just have this spray bottle. You want to make sure it wasn't used for anything other than water, because you don't want to get any chemicals on your bird. It can harm them very. So this one I just have set at a mist, and you want to go above your bird so it's like rain. And just lightly spritz them, and he actually likes to be sprayed in his front a little bit. He was just sprayed the other day, so he's not really getting into it as much as he usually does. But you just want to spray them lightly and then make sure they have plenty of time to warm back up and for their feathers to dry before it's time for them to go to bed. As you can see, if I'm just sitting here on the couch watching TV or reading a book, he can just sit on my shoulder and we can just hang out. He likes to go explore everywhere. He'll sometimes fly around the room and then just come back and sit somewhere, and we just like to hang out together, even if we're not actively interacting with one another. We can also talk together because I'm trying to teach Wally to talk. So if I want to teach him a phrase, I can just have him sit here on my finger or my shoulder because he likes shoulders more. He kind of inches his way up there always. So you can sit here and just talk to each other. Hi, Wally. Hey, Walls Balls. You you handsome boy. And it doesn't even matter if you're saying a phrase that you want him to learn, even just talking to him and getting your bird used to your voice and just interacting with them. You don't have to be trying to teach them something or train them to do a trick. You can just spend time with them, and usually they enjoy that, and that will help them bond to you. So when you want to teach them something, they'll learn much faster because they want to please you. I got Wally this little playground at Petco the other day, and he seems to really enjoy playing on it sometimes. There's a swing over there, which he's not a huge fan of the swing, but he likes the ladder. Climb up the ladder. So if you have a little playground like this, you can have your bird play on the playground, and I usually have Wally play on here for about an hour every day because he seems to like to just kind of waddle around and play on here. And as you can see, he gets a little chirpy on his perch and really likes to just hang out. He'll preen, and he has lots of fun, usually. Also, since I got him as a little bit of an older bird, he's not used to certain foods and certain interactions, so each day I try to introduce him to something new. So today I have a piece of lettuce. He has had lettuce before, but he's still a little leery of it. He's not sure what to do. If I hold it up to him, he usually just doesn't know what to do with it. He'll nibble on it sometimes. He rarely eats any of it. But it's kind of fun. Kind of fun to see what he'll do with it. Otherwise, there's a little dish, so I'll have it kind of stick out of the dish a little bit. And he might go over and munch on it at some points while he's playing. He likes to chew on things. I think that's a pretty common bird trait. You having fun? So this is an average day in the life of Wally and I. We hang out together and have a lot of fun, and of course we have to keep each other healthy and happy.